This is the bonus section podcast number 80. What you don't know is more important than what you do know. Are you the type of person that knows that you were meant for something greater in this lifetime and that somewhere inside of you there's just this bigger version of yourself trying to break through? But in spite of all your self-development attempts, you just can't seem to find the way up? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the bonus section, the host of this podcast, and a person just like you trying to learn how to live the most fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action to get moving in a direction like that, we take all the notes from each episode and we post them for a short period of time at freethinkingtools.com, freethinkingtools.com. We leave a couple episodes worth of notes up there so that if you will take some time to work on yourself and on your life, we give you a little couple of notes there to disturb the peace and make you think. That's all we want. We want you to think your way to better, okay? In this episode, what you don't know is more important than what you do know. And this is a theme that I know recurs on this podcast because it is a provoking sort of endeavor that I have here. I'm trying to provoke thought. I'm trying to provoke us all to think, myself to challenge you, you to challenge me. I mean, that's just healthy. It's curiosity driven. It's academically driven. It enhances the emotional way that we see ourselves. We feel more proud of ourselves when we're learning, when we're growing, right? Simple. And that's the first point here. We are expanding or contracting all the time. I mean, I know it sounds scientific, but just think about it psychologically. Think about just a simple day or a week. Take a short period of time and think about the moments where you feel so fulfilled and you feel up. Your head is up. Your eyes are up. You're looking straight forward. You're looking out there. And I know some of you might be listening to this and you're in a tough spot right now. And, I never look up. Well, you do. You do. Even in that week, you looked up. You smiled at somebody, even if it was temporary. We're doing it all the time. That's an expansion. When you fill yourself up, I mean, imagine yourself, shoulders back, eyes up, looking out there at a goal, a deep breath in, you're right, and you're standing, erect, and you're just there. And that's an expanding body language. And typically, even just by doing that, you can expand a positive thought. Like as I do it, every time I play these little games when I'm doing this podcast, I can feel my chemicals change, right? I just felt a little adrenaline rush. I feel the chills right now just by doing that. And I do it in the gym when I'm walking around. I started putting my hands behind my back in between, when I'm weightlifting in between sets, just trying to stay healthy, trying to stay up, trying to expand, trying to make the whole experience. I mean, when I'm in the gym, I'm listening to people that help me expand my mind in positive ways. And that's where I get a lot of the ideas here. I'll listen, I'll feel, I'll think, I'll disturb, I'll write things down. I call it capturing fireflies, right? I put them there and there they are. And then I have them because I can expand around those things because I know, oh yeah, you can hear it in my voice today. It's allergy season. I'm walking around like a zombie, right? So that's a contraction. My physicality is under assault. But because I've been working on expanding at the same time, I can get through it. I can change my state in spite of actually physically feeling a little bit off. Weather's not suiting me. Right? Maybe I didn't feel like I got enough sleep, whatever. I'm in that battle like you are where I'm trying to expand in spite of contracting. And I'm not going to tell you that contraction is necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes we have to retreat to see what was going on when we expanded. I'm not saying expanding is just running forthright into danger and not thinking about it all the time. I mean, you want that adventurous side to you and you want to expand, but you sometimes do have to retreat. I get it. I understand that. But what I'm really talking about here is let's go back to the premise of the podcast. How could it be that what you don't know is more important than what you know, right? I mean, and this is a little bit of a challenging subject even to talk about because if you think about it, you think about, well, historically, I have to go back and remember my history so I don't create some catastrophic problem for myself. And historically, as humanity, don't we have to go back and look at all the malevolent people that have come before us and we're trying to evolve out of that? Sure, there's a case for all that. I think that makes sense, but maybe that's the only reason to go back is to try to avoid these catastrophic things that are obvious because, of course, malevolence lives in all of us. Right? Don't go denying that either. So you have all of these contrasting things about you that you have to deal with and you're expanding or contracting. But I like looking up and out to the North Star. I'm big on that because that really helps me say, okay, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the mistakes I make, regardless of the things that don't go my way, regardless of the attacks of other people, there's a light out there. It's a North Star. And I'm going to keep trying to expand to that. Yes, maybe I'm halfway up the mountain and the wind's blowing a little bit. I need to lower my sails and ride with the waves. Okay, great. But I want that expansion. So let me go to the next point here. You see, wanting to expand is a concept that we're born with. So I'd say the next point here is that we're born with this discovery drive. Think about children. Watch them go wild, and they just want to take off, and they want to discover. And it's such an awesome thing to behold. But of course, we worry about them. We don't want them to get hurt. They're so little, they can't take care of themselves. They could just run headlong into danger because they're so naive. They don't know what they don't know. And what they don't know, see the point? What they don't know, it could really hurt them. So what do? We attack the discovery drive. Don't go there. Don't touch that. Don't go there. Don't. So the discovery drive that's trying to expand in a child, the force of contraction comes from adult supervision, and for a lot of the right reasons. So that's a really difficult thing. Take it from a guy who's in the middle of raising 5 children. It's super challenging, very challenging to try to get that person to a point where, because you know what could hurt them and they don't, where along the way do you begin to withdraw and let them have that self-discovery? Where do you let them touch the hot stove and feel the little burn? Right? That was proverbial, by the way. I'm not saying that that's what I did as a father, but I'm just saying it's really, really important to watch yourself. And more importantly, also, as you grow up, and all the teenagers out there that I'm talking to are the early 20 crowd. That's a tough point in life when you're really trying to get off the dock and you're trying to swim for yourself, and everybody has an opinion about who you should become. And that really puts a lot of contracting pressure on your discovery drive, because what are you going to do? You're going to go to school and get a job that keeps you safe, because that makes everybody in your life feel safer. Not you. That makes them feel safer because you wanted to do something that was very different from what everybody else's opinion was. You see what I mean? This is really a tough place to be. So this discovery drive, all the way, it's born from the beginning. We're born with it. Off we go. And then there's just this pressure to contract it, to control it, to even break it in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases, you do break it. You break it in somebody. And now they live in a constant state of fear. And everything is just around trying to barely survive. So all this discovery and this excitement is now so shut down that we're scared. And worst, here's the next point. The worst part of this is as we continue to try to learn what we don't know, and we want to discover, and we have different dreams for ourselves, even if we don't quit our day job, quote unquote, but there are other things that are burning inside of us, or we want to travel, or we want to try something creative, or we want to break, into business, and that's what we want. And all of a sudden that we just fear this discovery drive, and every time we try to move in that direction, we become our own worst tyrant. Tyrant. Strong word, right? You become a tyrant yourself. Forget about what everybody else did to help you contract and stop trying to discover what you don't know that could be so wonderfully a part of your life. You start to tyrannize yourself. See, we always want to look outside when we're miserable, we're angry. It's this one's fault. It's that one's, the circumstances. We look for a tyrant, but the truth is we become our own worst tyrant. Because as we discover, oh, that's not for me, I could never do that. Or those people are, right? See, that's tyranny. That's internal tyranny. You are beating yourself down. You are tyrannizing yourself. You're contracting yourself. I know it sounds weird when you're inside your head and these multiple voices, but there are. The child is trying to reawaken. That child is trying to come back out and expand and learn and be curious. And we've never lived in a world that was so exciting in its ability to give us the opportunity to learn. My gosh, from the phone to the computer, to all the different medium, however you like to learn, whether it's visual, auditory. I mean, these days with Zoom and all the ways you can jump in and feel kinesthetically there without having to worry about, I don't have enough money to get on the plane to go to this seminar or to that event. You can do it from a freaking phone. How exciting is that? And nobody can tyrannize you from the outside because you can go into a quiet spot where nobody sees you, having access to learning what you don't know, spending hours learning what you don't know. Now, I get it. It's easy to, succumb to falling into the trap of watching mindless stuff. That's contraction to a certain extent or to a large extent. So here's what I would say. The bonus section of the Bonus Section podcast this week is to push yourself back into a constant discovery mode. I'm going to say that again. Try to push yourself back each week into a constant discovery mode. That means daily. Daily, you're trying to discover something. Now, again, stop the whining that you don't have the time. That's just a lie. That's a kind of a weird way of being tyrannical to yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're trying to fool yourself that what you know is enough and that's good enough and that's going to get you through. But yet there's this burning child inside that says, let's go learn. Let's go discover. I want to know what we don't know. I want to know what's behind door number 3. I want to know when I go to the internet and ask questions and watch these videos over and over and over again because I'm discovering and the child in me is coming back to life so that after a long day at the job that I don't like or doing the thing that I don't like or being with the people that I'm struggling with right now, I have that time for myself, a little bit of discovery. Because you see, a little bit of that discovery, a little bit of that learning what you don't know brings in a little expansion, right? I was talking in a business context to some folks this past week, and I was saying, listen to the way that you sound. They're all saying the same words. It's a script. It's a business context when I'm coaching, right? And they're saying the same things, but what I hear is contraction. I hear them contracting. I hear them diminutizing the offer. I hear them afraid. And I said, what are you doing there? Well, I say that in a loving way, but I'm challenging paradigms. So what are you doing there? Open up the helium, open up the whole gauge and blow that balloon up. Make just the tone change by blowing it up. And how do you do that? You do that by when you're not in the context of whatever it is that you do, whether it's your sport, your academic, your corporate, your family, whatever scenario. When you practice discovery, when you're alone and you learn something that you didn't know and you feel, well, everybody speaks so much better than I do. Well, get a dang app on your phone and learn vocabulary. Learn a word a day. What does that take? The word of the day. Look it up. It takes 2 minutes and you expand. And before you know it, all these little expansions are growing and they're expanding and you're excited like a kid and you want to drop that new word. And people say, wow, she's smart. He's smart. They're smart, right? And all of a sudden you hear that and it makes you feel good and you keep going. See what I mean? It's so contagious and it's not harmful. Especially if you're not a kid anymore. You're not trying to run out into traffic because it just looks so fun out there as a child. You're somebody that's trying to grow in a positive way for yourself to have this self-fulfilling life. I say at the beginning of every one of these, I'm just trying to do the same. No matter what my circumstances are. I figure the longer I want to learn and I continue to push expansion, I'm probably going to expand my life. God willing that, something tragic doesn't happen by accident. I'm going to continue to expand that stuff because that North Star is always out there. Sure, it shifts. Can't do things physically that maybe you could do before. But you can keep working on your mind. And for all of you that are struggling with diseases of the brain, learn about them while you still have time left. If your family's around you, learn about that stuff. Keep going, learning, pushing discovery mode always. Because I'll guarantee you, at some point in time, if you allow contraction to be the thing that expands, okay, if you allow contraction to be the thing that expands, you will really downgrade the quality of your life, if not end it sooner than it has to be ended, right? You'll just atrophy because constant constant contraction and allowing that to be your state and killing your own discovery mode by being your own tyrant, that's not a good formula. Let me go back and hit these bullet points. What you don't know is far more important than what you do know. Why? First point, we are expanding or contracting. That's just the way the world works, right? 2, we're born with this discovery drive. Think about children driven to discover. 3, the worst part is, even though other people try to take that discovery drive away by overprotecting us, we start to become our own worst tyrant, and we keep contracting ourselves, right? Telling ourselves that we shouldn't be in that kind of mode. And the bonus section is that you have to push yourself back into constant discovery drive like a child so that you're always expanding in some form or fashion in spite of contraction. Let me summarize it this way. We're always either expanding or contracting. While contracting isn't the end of hope with respect to moving towards our goals, it is a slippery slope that might cause us to be self-punishing, which leads to feeling helpless and increases the chances of becoming less interested in expanding. Therefore, you have to push yourself in small steps towards your youthful, curious persona that we are all born with, and do it just for you and your own expansion, because you don't know, right? What you don't know is always more important than what you do know. All right, remember, you can take immediate action to get started in the right direction, moving towards your goals, because we take all the notes from each episode. We post them for a short period of time at freethinkingtools.com, freethinkingtools.com, just the way it sounds. We give you instant access. There's a couple sets of notes from the latest 2 episodes, and I don't put a bunch of stuff up there because I want you to take some time. If you hit this podcast, you can go there, you'll see the notes, and you can download them. You can save them in your notes section. But I always recommend you get a yellow pad of paper or a journal, whatever it might be. You break out your pen and your pencil, and you get these thoughts out of your head and onto paper. And then you take a look at them and you see what bubbles up to the top, because there's something waiting for you to work on it. But you got to get it out of your head, and you have to see it sometimes, okay? And of course, don't forget, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also post our content on YouTube, and we're really trying hard to reform everything that we do. And so you'll see more and more from the website. You'll see more and more from the YouTube channel. So what I would recommend is find the bonus section channel. Okay, the bonus section on YouTube. Subscribe, please. Turn on the notifications. And, of course, share the content with somebody who needs this kind of help as well, just to provoke thought. That's the only thing we're trying to do here. But, of course, we'd appreciate that you join that mission by sharing, because we really are just trying to become a bunch of people for others. Be of service to others. It's the highest calling in life, I think. But remember this. I sign off the same way every time. Nobody's coming for you. Absolutely no one. So go get to work. Right? Go get to work on a better plan for your goals, and we'll see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks for tuning in.